Good morning, this is Baba. Today with Pennystocking 100 to 1000. Welcome back to the series where we take a fresh account on Webull, starting with just $100, and show you the journey it takes to grow that $100 into $1,000 over time. And we're back. Today is June 2nd, 2019. Markets are green. And I did it again. We have uploaded another $100 into the account because we just want to increase the speed of this journey. I know we've been having a rough time. We've been losing sight of our rules, losing sight of discipline, but let's get back in there. Let's start back fresh. Let's get some wins in there. And so we want to rack up some wins now. So in saying that, we made a day trade on today, and we just wanted to get a win in there. So we didn't actually make much money on it, but I want to tell you why I sold as soon as I did. I'll show you what I was kind of thinking. So we got in on the best play of the day, which was FCEL. So that was over 100% runner, but I only made 4% on that. So I made a pre-market play. A lot of these plays are tending to happen in the pre-market. If you were up earlier in the morning, you saw Tiger, TIGR, pump and dump in the pre-market early. You know, where it went from 570 all the way up to around 660 something, and then right back down to where it was the previous day. So I expect these plays to kind of pump and dump, but so I want to be in and out. So with the play we got in here was FCEL right here. We made don't pitch that because I made money on this another day, but today's trade. Okay, so the second, so we bought 476 shares at 415 in the pre-market. We sold it at 516, so about an hour later at 28 cents. So not a lot on that one, and of course it's in 60 cents is in the after hour. But let me show you the charting actually, so you can kind of see my thought process and what I was going through at the moment and why I sold when I sold. So of course this play actually on the first day on Monday had a huge run, several million in volume. Went from 17 here was the previous day. So 17 it went from our 17 cents all the way to 30 cents that day. Yeah, about 30 cents that day. And so came back down, settled in like 24, 25. And so I got in here, this gap up here the next day in the pre-market. It looked pretty good. But for a continuation play, I was kind of thinking that it might have a continuation. But when I look for continuation plays, I look for it to happen like pretty much right away, So I'm looking for it to show some signs of huge strength, like straight away in the pre-market, about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm looking for some strength, some huge volume. Not really huge volume. You see the first tick of the open and the pre-market at 4 o'clock was 11,000 in volume, so not huge. 3,000 on the next tick, So I was looking for a lot of momentum on this, and we just did not find it. The first tick, it went from 26 to 28. Later on here, you see there's another 20,000 shares traded here. Again, same thing, 26 to 28. That was kind of like the top for that time period. And I kind of saw that might be it. When these plays die out, sometimes that is it, and it will have a steep drop off, probably right back down to 17-ish. Of course, that didn't happen. It actually held pretty well. But as you know me, I don't like to be in these plays like this where you're trying to hope for it to hold pretty well, to hold and consolidate. Granted, there was little risk involved because I was in at 27, and it pretty much held the 26s pretty well. But I just wanted to get a win in there. I didn't want it to drop back down to 26, and I'd be in the red. And it just falls back down off of low volume. That doesn't always have to be a continuation play. This does not always happen. This here does not always happen. You have to be aware that this does not always happen. Don't treat every stock like this is going to be the case. Now, of course, there's an argument for, why didn't you still have another day trade? Why didn't you get in a little bit later as you saw the strength on the open? I wasn't even up. When I made my trade, I went back to sleep. So I was able to go back to sleep around 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even get up for this. I was done for the day. I left it at that. So we missed this huge run up. I woke back up around 1 o'clock that afternoon. It was trading. It was consolidating around the 43 cents area, and I thought about getting in, but then I know that a lot of these plays like this can either has one or two. It's gonna have one or two outcomes. Either it's gonna break out again like it actually did here, or it's just going to tumble and crash right back down to the 20s. And I didn't want to be in for that, so I didn't want to chase that up there in the 43s. So I stayed all out. You don't always have to make a trade just because it looks like it might be a good play. I could have done it, but I decided I'd just make my one-day trade for the day and move on. It's not a big deal. The goal right now for the account is just to make sure we get some wins in there. Right now we are 3 wins in a row consecutively right now. Not huge wins. I think the first win was like 1%. Second win was like 2%. And then this win here like 4%. So not huge, but I just want to kind of get gain some consistency back in the vault to make sure we make progress. Actually make progress this time. So we'll see what happens in the next coming days. Also, there's an argument for holding this because of the fact that I actually later on I went on Yahoo to look at the statistics of this particular play, this particular stock. You can see there's a float of about 27 million. Of course, there wasn't much volume in the pre-market early, but there's a float of 27 million, and the shares short were about 20% of the float was short. And I believe when it's that huge of a percentage of short percentage, it's unlikely that you're going to find shares to short. So it's unlikely for shorts to come in and crash the stock based off of that. So there's an argument for holding it just because of the fact that the float, the shares shorted in the float were pretty high, and then there's no real institutional ownership of this stock. So no big holders of this stock. So you could expect this thing to either hold its gains pretty well, potentially. Like it wouldn't crack really, really hard for the most part, unless it's just people panic selling. So there was an argument for just holding on to that consolidation because of the fact that I know people can't short manipulate this right now. But again, I didn't actually look at that ahead of time. I looked at that afterwards, after it had the huge run up. I didn't pay any attention to that while I was holding it. So, a couple things in there to take away from this lesson. But I hope you all learned something, and we're gonna get back in there. We're back. We're over $100 again. We're back in the series. Let's make something happen. Let's do it. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the next episode of Penny Stock 100 to 1000. And we just encourage you all to stay motivated, stay inspired, study hard, and penny stocks will reward you. Thank you.